boarded from Brazil is about to land at ancient International Airport, Korea. After 2 years, you return to your country after receiving a call from the king that your family has served for several generations. Your ancestors started serving the royal family until it was passed down to each generation. Your grandfather, your father, and your brother are royal guards and royal speakers. You are Choi YN, a secret agent and skilled in guns and fighting. You have been assigned to Brazil for a mission for 2 years, but you need to go home after accepting the king's order to be the personal bodyguard of his beloved son, Prince Jungkook. Prince Jungkook is the eldest son of the king, but to other women, not with the queen. The king fell in love with the ordinary girl, but he could not marry her because of the status of his life. The king tried to fight for the girl, but the king's family did not agree, and they immediately married the king, who was the current crown prince at that time, to a woman who was also from the royal family, which is the current queen now. Jungkook grew up with his heart is full of pain. He didn't understand why the queen treated him differently because all he knew he was his mom. His only ally was the king until he accidentally found out the truth. Jungkook decided to leave the palace to find his mom and live a free life because he doesn't want the life he has inside the palace either. The king let him choose what he wanted to do because the king saw how much Jungkook was suffering inside the palace in the hands of the queen. But the main reason why he let Jungkook was so that he could live freely as he wanted and fall in love with the girl he loved. Unlike the king, who even though he was in love with Jungkook's mom, he couldn't fight for her. Jungkook left and lived in the house given by the king, and finally, he met his real mom. But currently, Jungkook received a death threat, as well the king who received also a call saying that his beloved son will be killed. Immediately, the king looked for someone who could guard his son. Your brother was supposed to guard Jungkook, but after finding out about you, he chose you for some reason. Outside the airport, a car stopped in front of you and a person get out and approach you. Miss YN, you look at the car plate number. It matches what the king told you. That car will take you to the hideout they brought Jungkook to. Yes, it's me. I was sent by the king to pick you up, he said and opened the car door for you. After you entered, he handed you an iPad as you watched the video. It was the king's message for you. After 1 hour, you arrive at the big house. You get out of the car while the driver was busy unloading your luggage. Until you finally saw the prince sitting near the pool. He was busy on his phone. You came near him and stood in front of him. Good morning, your highness, you said and bowed at him. Jungkook raised his head and looked at you from head to toe. Who are you? The new maid? You raised your brows at what he said, but still you managed to answer him calmly. Choi YN, your highness, your new personal bodyguard. As you saw him stand up and laugh continuously. Bodyguard? Seriously? What do you do when there is an enemy? Take out your lipstick and makeup, and that's what you throw at them? You just let him insult you since you know it would happen because it was one of the things the king said that Jungkook had a rude attitude, and that's the reason why he chose you because the king knew that he could change his son. What came into the king's mind to choose you? I might even be the one to defend you in case there is an enemy. You just look at him with poker face, but all of a sudden, you took out the gun that was at your waist and removed each of its part one by one. After removing all of them, you put it back. When it was complete, his eyes widened because it was done in less than a minute. Is this enough, Prince Jungkook? Cause if not, I can show you more. He didn't answer. He just gazed at you and entered the house. Later on, a maid came and showed you your room. Jungkook entered his room and took a shower. While in the bathtub, his brain was busy thinking about how his dad met you. Out of many people who can be his guard, why you? Wait, your face looks familiar. Did we meet before? He asked himself, until you suddenly entered his bathroom and checked every corner. Yeah! What are you doing? Can't you see I'm taking a bath? You're invading my privacy. But you ignore him and continue to check the bathroom, and the mirror on the vase, until your eyes landed on the ceiling. You came to him and stood in the bathtub. You reached the ceiling and started checking it. YN, get out of here now! He shouted. Prince Jungkook, I'm just doing my job. But if someone installs a camera here, don't worry, I'm not interested in your 8 bucks hours. I don't care, just get out of here! Like earlier, you ignore him. And now you are looking at the bathtub where he was soaking. What are you planning to do? As you put your hand under the water, as if you were looking for something. Why then? You might touch mine, he said and covered his junior with his hand. Okay, clear, you said and went down to leave. But before you could get to the door, he called you. He was very angry, so you turned around to face him. Miss YN, you are fired! You came to him and bowed, as if he was expecting you to beg. I'm sorry, Prince Jungkook, but I can't do that. You are not my boss. The king hired me to guard you and protect you. So the only person who can fire me is the king, not you. You left the bathroom as you start checking his bedroom. In his anger, Jungkook screamed inside the bathroom while calling you a witch, but you just laughed instead. The next day, Jungkook's soul almost flew after seeing you staring at him deeply when he opened the door. You put a chair in front of his room to guard him properly. Wait, don't tell me that's where you slept? Yes, because the king said you like to run away. I think you are going somewhere since you are dressed. Give me your car key, I'll drive for you, Prince Jungkook. And who told you I'm leaving? He shouted. But the truth is, Jungkook should really run away. He has no plans to take you with him. Of course, he feels he will be embarrassed. Imagine he is a guy and then his bodyguard is a woman. So, he just went downstairs and went to the pool. You didn't want him to suffocate, so you didn't follow him to give him some space. You just went to the balcony upstairs as you saw him busy reading the newspaper until you thought of making coffee. So you went to the kitchen and come back to the balcony later. The moment you come back, you immediately check on him and he is there and still reading a newspaper. Until you notice something. Why he needs to cover his face with a newspaper. At that time, you got nervous that there is something wrong, so you flew, going to the pool from the balcony where you were. You approach him as you remove the newspaper, and you are right. There is something wrong because Jungkook is no longer there. Where is the prince? You asked the driver who was pretending as him. He ran away, Miss YN. Sorry, he will find me if I don't obey him. You hurriedly took the motorcycle key and drive it to find Jungkook. But not far from the house, you saw him happily swinging in a small park, like a child. You got off the motorcycle and came to him while wearing an angry face. Why? Are you going to punch me? He asked. But you just went behind him instead and pushed the swing, making him happy. You want more? More? As you pushed his back hard, until Jungkook suddenly stopped the swing and got down after he remembered something. Can you repeat what you said? You smile and say, Ah, you want more? 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 Jungkook covered his mouth and said, Chubs, is that you? You giggled and said, Finally, you remember me. When Jungkook was 12 years old, your dad assigned to be his guard. Your dad always saw that Jungkook being lonely because his other siblings and the queen didn't pay attention to him. He always played alone. So after school, your dad used to bring Jungkook to your house to play. And that's when you two became friends and playmates. What you like to play with is the swing, and since he is prince, you're always the one who push him. You love to ask him you want more, more, and more. Jungkook knows your name is Jobs because your parents and brother often call you that because you used to be fat before. Every day for about 4 months, you were playing after class. Then one day, he stopped coming to your house. The king found out and forbid your dad to bring Jungkook to your house before the queen find out about it. The king also assigned your dad to other job, and that's your communication cut off. Wow, how did you grow up like that? You are now beautiful and sexy and cool. Wait, is that a compliment or insult? Don't tell me I was ugly before. Something like that? As you heard him laughing like a maniac, in your anger you choke him playfully, but you stop automatically after realizing what you did. I'm sorry, Prince Jungkook. I miss you. I miss playing and talking with you. Really? Then let's go home before anyone sees you here. Next time, don't run away from me. Promise. But are you really sure that you can protect me? He asked as you walk back to the motorcycle. You don't trust me? No, I'm just kidding. At least my mind is peaceful now, because I know I have someone on my side that I can trust. At night, you went to the kitchen to drink some water when you noticed Jungkook alone in the pool, so you approached to accompany him. You want some coffee, Prince Jungkook? He gazed at you and said, Stop calling me Prince, just Jungkook. It's an order. You sat next to him and looked up. Did you find your mom? Yeah, but we have to separate again because of the threats to my life. I really miss her. And Bam, my dog. You know what I miss? Someone kissed me before going to bed. Ah, so you miss your mom? No, my dog. Then every morning, someone wakes me up. Who's your dog? No, my mom. Walks with me every morning. Your mom? No, my dog. Aish, I won't ask anymore. YN, can you lend me your shoulder? Huh? But you didn't finish your question when Jungkook rested his head on your shoulder and closed his eyes. You don't want that day to end because at that time, you were really happy and your heart beat full for him again. It's funny to think that since then until now, you still have a crush on him. Jungkook usually wake up early, so you wonder why he hadn't come out of his room yet. You knocked his room but no one answered, so you just went in to check on him. As you saw him still in bed and sweating. Prince Jungkook, I mean Jungkook, are you okay? You asked because he was obviously sick. You put your hand on his forehead as you found out that he had a high fever. Wait, I call a doctor. You're about to stand up, but Jungkook stopped you from holding your wrist. Please, don't leave me, he said and stared at you. You sit next to him and say, don't worry, I'm just here. Promise I won't leave you. YN. Do you know? I always want to run away before, just to see Chubs. Why? Because that fat girl is my first love. It's like the world stopped for the two of you. You just stare at each other and no one wanted to talk. As you two start blushing and felt thousands of butterflies out of your stomach. So we continue.